Hey everybody, welcome to the video, welcome to my garage. My wife and I just purchased a brand new RV. This is the first RV we've ever purchased. This is a 2023 Coachmen Cross Trail 22XG is the model. We did research online and just going out and looking at RVs for about a year and a half before we purchased this RV. And now that we have it, we've used it a little bit, and I've climbed all around this thing. I want to put out a video where I can actually show you guys some of the build quality concerns. And the reason that I want to do that is when I was watching videos and people were telling me about the build concerns, they didn't really go over the issues. They just told me that they are issues. And so I want to put a video out there. I want to show you specifically some of the build quality issues. And some of them are kind of bad, some of them aren't bad at all, but I just want to show them to you so that if you are like us and you are purchasing an RV, or maybe you already purchased an RV, I want to show you things to look for, to identify them so that you can either fix them yourself or, hire somebody to fix them, so that basically you can reach a point where you can feel like you're done with the build quality issues and you can just move forward with your RV. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with what I think is the most important, and that is the plumbing. And the reason I think that's the most important is because when we brought this RV home, it already had a water leak in it. We discovered the water leak at the dealer, and while we were filling out the paperwork, they actually said that they had fixed it. So we drove it home. I pressurized the system to double check, and it was still leaking a lot. So that was the first thing that I had to fix, and then I had to do a full inspection just to make sure that there weren't any other leaks. So that's going to be the first thing that I address with you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the very beginning, and my freshwater storage tank sits under the seat here. So I'm going to take all of this apart, expose that tank so that we can do an inspection there, and then we'll move forward from there. Okay, so now this is my freshwater tank right here, and then over here, this is my pump. This is what pressurizes the whole system. So what you want to do when you're doing this is make sure that you've got some water in your freshwater tank, and then turn your pump on so that it pressurizes the system. Open up some faucets so that it lets some air out, and then basically you just want to run around and inspect all of the fittings, and all you're looking for is water. And what I noticed is fittings like this, these are actually just hand threaded on, and there's a gasket right in here. This is where I had the problem, not on this fitting, but on this type of spin-on connection. And so you want to look at everything, all of the fittings. You just want to climb all over, and I would leave it pressurized for at least an hour, and then check back to see if you have any water. This is also a good time to identify where things like there's a shutoff valve right here. You've got your drain valve right here. These are your tank overflows right here. So it's a really good opportunity to not only do an inspection to make sure you don't have any leaks, but identify everything so that if you have to do any troubleshooting later on, you know your system better. And you're going to find things like my pump right here is really loose, way too loose. And I don't know why, because they have screws in the base, but they didn't tighten them down. So I'll be going back and tighten this down so that it's not rattling when I'm driving and possibly creating some leaks. But you're going to want to do that for everything. And as an example, this access hole right here, this was a drawer. In this RV, when you want to get access behind the cabinets, typically what you have to do is pull the drawers out. They have little levers on the sliders, and you flip those levers, then you pull the drawer all the way out. And then you've got access to a lot of things behind the scenes. So again, you're going to want to check all of these, make sure nothing's leaking. And on mine, if we really get in there, that fitting back there, that's a hose connection on the outside just to spray your shoes off or, you know, give yourself a little shower before you come in. That was leaking fairly significantly right there. And I don't think you can see, but it did even start to discolor the wood down there. So for the plumbing, that's what you're going to need to do. You're going to have to pressurize it, crawl around, and just see if there's any leaks. And like I said, just get acclimated. If you find any problems like I did, you can fix them yourselves. If you don't think you can fix them yourself, then just create a punch list. Just write all these things down, and then if you hire a mobile tech to come, you can just give them the list, and then they can go directly to these problem areas. Or if you're going back to the dealer, same thing. Okay, so next you're going to want to do an inspection of your electrical system. With your electrical system, only do what you're comfortable with here. If you're not comfortable with electricity, don't do this, but I'm going to show you what I did, and you can take it from there. This is what I would call my distribution panel, my breaker panel. This has my fuses for my 12 volt over here, my circuit breakers for the 120 over there. I've already loosened up these screws because I want to take this out, and I just want to make sure that the wiring in here just really does not look suspicious, which it doesn't. This all looks really good to me. And the 120 over here also, I don't see anything in there that is a glaring concern. So I was good with everything in here. I already pulled the drawers out here because this is power behind that. Now there's a couple of things here. Number one, this wire here is pressed up against this metal enclosure, and it's not bad, but it is rubbing up against there a little harder than I would want it to. So I'll probably come back and zip tie these together, zip tie a couple of these together, and just get them so that they're not rubbing on this metal housing. But aside from that, that's the back side of my charge controller, and that's the back side of kind of like my output panel that shows tank levels and things like that. There's a couple of empty wires up there, but those are just for accessories that I don't have. Nothing up there looks too suspicious. Back here looks pretty good, but I am going to come back and address that. And then, you know, while you have all your drawers out from the plumbing, I would come in here and inspect all of this stuff. You can see it's not fancy. I mean, the stuff is just haphazardly run all over the place. And so you want to look at this stuff and just find, is there anything that looks like it's going to chafe? Maybe zip tie it up. I'm a big fan of zip tying things together so that they're not just bouncing around. And I probably am going to come through here and clean some of this up. So just like you did on the plumbing, you're going to want to just run around everything on the inside and just try to put your eyes on as much as you can to make sure there aren't any problems. Now, we're still working on the electrical. We need to go outside and underneath the RV, and I'm going to show you, this is where I really found some problems. So let's go check that out. All right, now we are right where the generator is. This is the generator. So let's climb underneath here. There's a couple of things I want to show you. All right, so here's what we got going on here. Sorry, it's really tight under here. So the green is our generator. This is our 120 volts that comes from the generator, and here it gets fed into the RV. This is a flexible conduit that is supposed to be slipped into here, and it's not, obviously. But not only that, but it's nowhere near going in there, which makes me wonder, was it ever in there? I don't know. That's really concerning. If I left this, these wires will chafe on this metal housing, and they will eventually short out, trip the breaker, and you won't have your generator. So that's not good. I definitely have to fix that. And then if we come up here, this wire is too tight. This is for the turn signal camera. That's way too tight. That's really tight for a wire. It's not supported at all. It's just drawn tight. That's crazy. And then this wiring here, I'm assuming is some sort of control wires for the generator, and they are drawn relatively tight through this hole, and that's a sharp edge hole. So these wires also are going to chafe if I don't do something to relieve them. So I need to address that. And the wiring underneath this RV is the worst part of the entire build. I don't know what happened underneath here, but the three things I just showed you here, that's kind of the theme underneath this entire RV. But anyways, that's some of the wiring issues. Now let me get out of here. So with the wiring, just like you did the plumbing, I've climbed all under the underside of this thing looking at what I need to do. A lot of it is just with zip ties. I need to bundle things up and just make them more secure, because a lot of the wiring under there is just hanging under its own weight, and that's not going to fly, because when wire's just hanging under its own weight, it eventually pulls itself out of its connections. So there's a lot that I need to fix in there, and then obviously there's actually some serious wiring that I need to fix where it connects to the generator, which I will. But again, if you're not comfortable doing this, you can still crawl underneath there and check it out and just create a punch list. Okay, so the next one is exterior waterproofing or leaking. And this is a tough one, because the conclusion that I've come to here is just that these things are going to leak. You can do what you can to try to minimize it, but I feel like just by design, they're going to leak to a certain extent. And that's not saying to give up, but you need to be vigilant against these leaks. And let me go over to the other side and give you an example of why I'm saying that. All right, so if you look here, this is the opening, and on this RV, the opening's actually really nice. The frame of this RV is built out of aluminum, and the opening to this frame is made out of aluminum. And then they've got these nice radius plastic pieces in the corner. Like, I'm just saying, as far as an opening and a cutout, this is really nice on this RV. And then you can see here, this is the Azdel, and it's basically like a 1/4 inch thick fiberglass, and it is adhered to this aluminum really well. Looks like they've got some sort of glue in there, and they have it all over the place, and it's pretty good. So that's really good. If you come to the inside here, you can see this is actually the interior paneling of the RV, and it's made out of like a 1/8 inch masonite or a press board, and you can see that it's not glued on as well. And this is wood, so if water leaks in here, and I'll show you the frame in a second, if water leaks through here and just makes its way to here, it's going to contact this wood, and this wood will start to swell up and it'll soak it up, and over the years this could mold or just become a problem. And the reason I'm saying I think that'll be really, really difficult to stop is because if we look at the frame, this is the frame, and it's just sealed by a gasket here. And this is brand new, and you can already see that the gasket, while they installed it, had folded over on itself. So there was probably barely any, if any, actually sealing right here, which means that water would just easily make its way down here, past there. And then at that point, it would make its way in, and you know that eventually it'll find a path to get to this masonite. So that's why I'm kind of saying, like, do everything you can to stop the leaks. Maybe add some silicone if you think that'll help. Cover your RV if it's being stored outside, if at all possible. I know you can't cover them everywhere, and I know that covering them is a pain in the butt. But what I'm saying is, don't try not to have the expectation that you're going to be able to seal the exterior of these 100%. The roof on this one is really good. I really don't think the roof is going to be leaking at all, but the exterior sides, I don't think you're going to be able to get that to not leak a little bit. So do what you can on that. So I would call those the big three, but you also need to do a general inspection. And what I mean by that is you need to run around and just honestly try to put your eyeballs on everything. And let me give you a couple of examples that I had to deal with. All right, for starters, your latches here. My latches were kind of loose, or some were loose, some were tight. There's a nut on the back side here that you can use to adjust these. And I had to adjust those. And then also, if you see this piece here, it's got like teeth that go in one direction to make it so that this lever glides over the part that it latches on down there. And on mine, one of these were just flipped backwards. And so I had to take the screw out and fix that because it wouldn't latch at all because the teeth were going in the wrong direction. The other item I had an issue with was these running boards. This van has running boards on the driver and passenger side, and the passenger side was actually really good. This driver side was hanging by a thread. I'm not kidding. There's an empty hole there where I pulled a screw out. There's an empty hole there where I pulled a screw out. Most of these screws, they had not even made contact with the van, and I had to drill my own holes and put nuts and bolts in here. So this is pretty tight now. It still moves a little bit, but I think it's as tight as it can be. But I mean, I'm telling you, this thing, when you would stand on it, it would go way down and it would crink and crunch. I don't know how I didn't notice this at the dealer. I didn't notice it till I was at home. But this is something where I don't know how it made it out of the factory. I swear to you, it was barely hanging on. It was crazy. Anyways, these are the kind of things that you want to try to identify and either fix them yourself or put it on that punch list to have somebody else look at. All right, so those are the items that I found. The list isn't too bad. There's a couple of crazy things in there, like the running boards, and some of that wiring is like, I don't even know how it made it this far without anybody catching any of that stuff. But regardless, it did. Most of the build quality on this RV is actually pretty good. I feel better now that I've crawled through it and identified some, what I would say are serious issues. And hopefully, as soon as I fix those wiring issues, then I can kind of move forward knowing that at this point, I'm in pretty good shape. So hopefully, you seeing these on this video can help you with your RV if you're in a similar situation. So thank you for watching the video. I hope it's helping you or maybe just giving you some entertainment, and I hope to see you on the next video. Take care.